Yeah, hey now, good morning. PSW staff, clients, friends joining us. We have friends joining us too. So good morning. Thanks for tuning in. It's Thursday. So it's almost done with the week, and we're going to go back to the town you love, I love, John loves, Megan loves, Bonnie loves, my parents love. It'll be a Lloyderific class, I think, because we're going to be looking at something very cool. I've been there once, but it's such a cool idea. There's a little bit of murder too in this history, so it won't be too bad for the kids, but it's going to be a little bit scandalous. But we're also look at something again that was kind of conceived by a woman. This is so interesting in these classes that I kind of think women are smarter sometimes and have better vision, but that's just a side note. That's maybe that, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So today we're going to look at a really fun little landmark place that's still there. You can still go by and walk around. We'll be looking at Crossroads of the World. Maybe you haven't heard that name, Crossroads of the World, in Los Angeles, but it's there. You've probably seen it. It's very iconic. It's an open air mall on Sunset Boulevard in Las Palmas, right there in Hollywood, and the mall features the central building is to resemble an ocean liner, surrounded by a small village of little cottage style bungalows. So cute. It looks like something out of Disney World, and in fact in Disney World they did replicate this. And so before the Grove, before outdoor malls that are part of society, this was the first outdoor shopping mall that opens in 1936. So pretty cool. America's first outdoor shopping mall, and that's thanks to Ella Crawford. So we're going to take a look at her. So if we look at our timeline, 1936, kind of late, a year after Union Station. Union Station is fully formed, but Los Angeles is fully developed here. We've got the buildings, we've got City Hall, we've got everything. This is kind of a later LA history class for us because things are established. Shopping, the automobile. Now people are ready to shop, right? They've always, I guess, been ready, but now there's different destinations in Los Angeles. Everything is out there for us. So architect was Robert Dara, American architect, and the style for this is modern, I guess. It's streamlined modern architecture, one would say, except for the little villages that we'll take a look at. But he's famous for doing the Coca-Cola building in South LA. That was a few years later, 1939. They call it the Coke Building. So, but this massive Art Deco, 60-foot Art Deco with this globe turning on its top is so great and iconic. Such a landmark for anyone just traveling down Sunset Boulevard. And what she wanted, Ella, and we'll talk about Ella, she wanted it to be like you could take a trip around the world. That's what she envisioned. Visitors, they came to see something beautiful, and since traveling back then was so expensive, she was like, why not bring all of the continents and all of the different cultures here in an outdoor shopping mall. So before we look at the glamour, we'll talk about a shady part of Los Angeles corruption. I'm trying to think. The only other thing we've looked at, I believe, is Greystone Mansion, where the murder happened. Remember, after 6 months of just living there, Ned Doheny, Edward's son, remember he had an altercation with his valet guy, and it was unclear about who shot who, but they both were shot and dead and killed in Greystone Mansion. So that's the only other murder scandal. But there was a murder that happened here before the mall opened. And we'll talk about why, because of this was the place that he died at. His wife wanted to do it, and the guy I'm talking about is Charles Crawford. Corrupt for the most part. Made his fortune with dance halls and saloons up in Seattle, and kind of was familiar with the underworld. vice and gambling and prostitution, but was very friendly with politicians. And when he comes down to L.A., he opens up a bar, Fifth Street and Maple Avenue, called the Maple Bar. And it was a place for drinking and also for gambling and also for prostitution. So, just a nice little joint, I'm sure. A lot of politicians, a lot of well-to-do people in Los Angeles, city-connected people. So I think he tried to pass them off himself as legitimate, but he also, and the way you do that is you get a good relationship with the cops. Cops mostly knew about these rackets going on, and if they were paid off, they were complicit. If they weren't, then they would shut you down. But Crawford was a very, politically smart, savvy businessman who was into corruption, unfortunately. So his crew that he rounded up became the City Hall Gang. That's what they called them. And he had a huge operation, vice operation of casinos and bordellos and all that fun stuff. All that terrible stuff. So around the 30s, things are starting to kind of rattle up, and he gets into some trouble. Like a good husband, leaves his wife and goes to Europe and just and then when he comes back, for some reason, all the charges against him were dropped. It's so interesting to see how these things are just swept under the rug. When he comes back, he's a reformed sinner, and so he starts a publication, Critic of Critics, with Herbert Spencer, who's his editor, and they do this magazine to rage against city officials. But 1931 comes crashing down, and he is murdered, along with Herbert Spencer. And a few weeks later, former district attorney David Clark, who was very handsome, very suave, had great charisma in the courtroom, he confessed to the murders, and he turned himself in. He didn't confess to the murder, but he confessed that he was there, and he said it was a self-defense thing. Even though there was no gun found on Charlie Crawford, and the things don't add up, some of the people were saying, well, if they don't add up, he took out somebody that was corrupt, so maybe that was okay. That's not okay, but I think that was the public attitude. Clark was tried twice and acquitted of all charges, and supposedly did a pretty amazing courtroom presentation of showing that it was self-defense, and really because of his good looks and way of dominating the courtroom, he was let go. So Crawford's death, after that, Ella decided to do something with where this murder happened of her husband, and wanting to make it a multinational shopping market that would feel kind of like a World's Fair and make it very cosmopolitan-like. And the original complex had about 57 shops and cafes, and then 36 offices on the upper floors. It wasn't a huge success, but it did start this model for outdoor malls across the world. And of course, you can do outdoor malls across the world very well in LA, because people can go outside mostly, 360 days out of the year they can go outside and shop. So, but she wanted to start something new. And it was a very new idea. She wanted people to find merchandise from all over the globe, from all different countries, from English to Middle Eastern, and so they had about nine buildings all in different architectural styles, and they were renovated now to look like they used to look like. So they had a variety of shops, Peasant House and Garden, which had imports of provincial, feeling. One could buy lingerie and handbags and handkerchiefs, of course, because if you remember Bullock's Wilshire, 1929, there was a whole handkerchief room, which of course we all have in our houses now, but handkerchiefs were known there. Barber shop, Barber Seville, that's what it was called. French perfume and chocolates and Oriental art and gift shops and a little theater and restaurants and including Sweden, England, Italy, all these different countries in this kind of really cute, kind of fairy tale land. So there were really lovely cobblestone walkways and huge palm trees. I love that we have palm trees here, right? So nice. Great landscaping, fountains, and outdoor seating areas. There was even a wishing well there, wishing well that would tie all the buildings together and just enhance this really fun atmosphere. So kind of by the 40s, 50s, the shopping didn't last as long as she wanted it to last. In the 50s, it was kind of more into office complexes, Screen Actors Guild, and then musicians started recording there, Crosby, Stills and Nash and Jackson Browne, and then Hitchcock actually used an office to rent there. And by 1974, it did become a Los Angeles cultural monument, so that was good. Real estate investor Mort Lacretz bought the property in 77, restored it to everything original. It's been used in movies. LA Confidential shows it, Indecent Proposal, it's there. And in 2019, LA City approved a project to revamp the Crossroads. And there probably will be high-rise, 950 high-rise apartments and condos around it, unfortunately, with a big hotel. But also, they said about 100 will be for low-income families, so we'll see about that. But just wanted to share with you a really beautiful part of On Sunset, the Crossroads of the World. Such a cool idea by Ella Crawford, and the first outdoor mall, so now we know about that. Okay, tomorrow we get to see your film scoring results for Life of Pi. I can't wait to show you that. So have a great rest of the day. Hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.